it's remarkable how the teachings are so clear that everything is always in flux, everything is impermanent, and it's always so remarkable how fixed things appear to be once they start to really sneak off on you, once they start to run away. I, for one, actually am firmly convinced that we're not moving at some level. Even though I've spent the last 6 months almost daily creating a place for us to move to, there is some corner of me that just, no, of course, this is what we do. But things still are in flux. This morning we acknowledged and gave Eric a statue in Buddha as something to remind him of us, which I don't think he's going to forget, but it was a gesture. And Michael said some very nice things about how it was so nice to have Eric join the team of people teaching. And it's been a pleasure to work with Eric, from my perspective. And you have a few comments that you want to add, some things, some reflections.
Well, first of all, the wonderful things that were shared in the morning, I think, are on YouTube, so you can look at them. And it was quite a beautiful time with Eric. But I feel like every time I'm with Eric, it's a beautiful time. He brings so much calm. And although he's funny, he'll always say he does not feel that way inside. But there must be something there, because he walks in and there's just some sense of confidence in the Dharma, kindness, space. And I thought, one of the things Lama Michael said was, he mentioned that it's difficult for him for anyone to think about who ought to sit here and teach. And he has to suss that out, And he said, you never know what's going to happen when you ask someone to. And he did some jokes around you put the person down like a seed and then watch what kind of fruit comes. And then there was this pause. Eric was like, He said, the fruit has always been sweet, Eric. Yeah, with you the fruit has always been sweet. So I thought, rather than me saying things, I would, and there's not time for all of us to say things, and Eric isn't here right now anyway, to hear them. I thought I would just read, if Dora doesn't mind, what she wrote in the book, because I thought it captured, the book, by the way. This is a journal we also gave Eric, and it's parked right out on the bookstore case right now, and please stop and write something. It doesn't have to be tonight, because Eric's not actually leaving till like mid-July, we think, and so he'll be showing up over at Skidmore. So we'll have the book for a while, and but please, if you feel moved to, this will be something he'll take and treasure. So here's what Dora said, and I thought it was just what I'd like to say too. Eric, I feel you've offered us so many things that are remarkable. Your professional expertise offering insight into life and death. Some of you may not know he's a palliative care physician, so does a lot of end-of-life care, and he has brought so many of those stories to enrich our Dharma, especially around impermanence and letting go, which is what he talked about himself this morning. Eric did. Your honest and reflective sharing of experiences with practice and personal predispositions, your humility, generosity, and kindness. I will sorely miss these contributions and your physical presence in the body of the Sangha, but I know our strong connection remains, and your gifts will be shared to great benefit in new ways and new places. So he's got this remarkable job at Harvard Medical Center, looking at life and death and palliative care issues. Great auspicious wishes as you and your family move into these new unfoldings. With love, Dharma brother, Dora, and all of us. So please share with Eric as you feel moved to. And I don't know what else you might want to share.
Well, I almost have, I have yet to make space in my mind for just what it will be like without Eric. Just at a practical level, at a practical level, I'll have to leave for meditation 20 minutes before I used to.
To get to Skidmore.
Get to Skidmore. Eric's departure will be a major change for all of us.
In our team.
In our team, it's a kind of a major throwing the cards up in the air and seeing where they'll land, and the process that Michael went through before in finding people to be transitions and new things happen. But I've come to definitely depend upon him very much. He had many good qualities that I really depended on. I don't know exactly what to do. But that's what we have to figure out together. That's what we have to figure out. One of the things that I would say on that line is that it's easy to think that we can come to teachings and that, okay. But part of the dynamic is in the seven branch prayer, there's the request to turn the wheel of the Dharma. It's an actual piece of practice. You actually have to you have to put yourself out, just the way in the olden days with the Buddha. If you wanted the Buddha to teach, you invited all the monks for lunch and put on a spread, and you created a place where other people could come. In the same way, you have to put some energy into it. So it's a dynamic thing. There's not something in particular I'm saying, oh, you must do this or you must do that. I just want you to recognize that this whole thing is a dynamic play, and your energy and interest is a living part of it. So I want to also acknowledge the energy that you do contribute in that way. And thank you for that. Along the lines of thanks, I don't know, I think maybe only one or two people knew Sanjay Bestic. Just a few of us did.
Let's see, how many? So
Yeah.
Sherry?
Yeah.
3 or 4.
But she was definitely a stalwart, and I was being one to muse over words. She did not stall when she encountered the works. She was somebody who really managed to stick with things in times that were very challenging in all levels. And so she, along with Alan Hefner, who also passed away recently, were very instrumental in the early days of KCC, of actually coming here and getting this house. So I feels kind of important to let's just think Alan Hefner, think for a second. And we got a very nice personal note from Sanjay's daughter, Lotus, who was born 3 months premature, and so her growing up, her early survival and growing up was definitely kind of something that we really felt as part of life here. And so we got a personal note the morning after Sanjay passed away, and she was very happy to think that we would be holding her in practice. So that's, I think, kind of a segue.
We had some
I had a
pictures of
nice picture of
Sanjay.
her that I was
Oh.
passing around this morning, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Two radiant
Ah.
pictures, one earlier and one also just in the last weeks before she passed away.
So the Sanjay was very energetic, very enthusiastic, and she was like, we were kind of a group of kind of more young, kind of hippie-ish people, but she had kids, and she was still just as active as those of us who didn't even, have jobs, much less kids. So she was amazing, and this morning, she's from New Zealand, and she ended up going back there. She took nun's vows, and for many years before she passed away, and so that was inspirational also. So she really, really embraced the Dharma. And this morning, Linda Logan read a beautiful thing that Sanjay, so we've been seeing her on Facebook, and so that's been nice. But she, just a couple months ago, she's had a progressive illness, so a couple months ago she wrote her own kind of story of her life, short thing, and in there she talks about coming to KCC and just recognizing that this is what she'd been looking for all of her life, and that she was home. And so that's when she started with the Dharma. That was 1979. And so that was just some months before Bill and I moved here also. And the other thing that Linda said was her famous quotes are, "Good on ya," and "No worries, mate." So that kind of summed up the sort of an example of her enthusiasm and kind of can do, and she just put a lot of energy into things. I think Sherry, you might have something to say because you spent a long time with her in New Zealand more recently.
I got a chance to go back twice and hang out with Sanjay in New Zealand, and more recently, gosh, I think it's been a year and a half now since I was back, and still just, taking everything in stride, and so enthusiastic and hopeful and cheerful, and even in light of the progressive illness that she had, was still just a wonder, and was still teaching yoga up until recently, and doing everything she absolutely could do, and out at Kamarchiling Buddhist Monastery outside of Auckland and helping out there, and yeah, she was just wonderful. In fact, she took me to the airport. I was thinking of that as the last goodbye. So yeah.
There's a picture of her, which was one of the ones I had, which was just a few days before she died, and she just looks aglow. And her kids were both with her when she passed away. It's peaceful. She has half the monasteries in India praying for her right now. I'm exaggerating, but she, a lot of Dharma connections, so it's really, considering it was too early, but it was just the way, just how we would all would like to
How old was she?
pass away.
Yeah.
I feel like she's about 10 years older than me, so she'd probably be maybe early 70s. Don't you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure. She kind of defied.
She was an animal lover and always had many dogs and cats and birds and
Chihuahuas.
whatever. And so, like, when His Holiness Karmapa came, he was a person who kept birds and things. So she would be the one who'd take him to a pet store and we have a famous picture that she took of him holding a beautiful big parrot. And then, yeah, so she was very, had that in common with him, so.
She's definitely amongst the handful of people that you should say, oh, there were a few weird hippie people long ago that made it possible for this house to come together. And you wanted to say some more about that
I do.
story and
I want to tell the story.
Yeah.
The story.
The story of the
Listen, children.
the other round.
Back when I was a child, I realized this house, we've had it for 36 years. Okay, it was like 36 years. That's over half my life. I was 24 when we were looking for this house. And the things that, it's like the things that came together to do this, we were a small group, but we had just been assigned a resident lama from a monastery in India. So we had Lama Tinley Drupa here for, turned out, about 10 years. But he had just been sent, and so we needed, a place for him to stay. We had, sort of one house, which was some students lived where he would stay, and we had some practices there. And then there was another house where the center president people lived, and we had practices there. And so we kind of had these two locations. But now these people were like shifting, maybe going to be moving and things. And meanwhile, we just, like Bill and I came to town in October. In November, the 16th Karmapa made his second visit to KCC at our other location, and we had hundreds and hundreds, I think it was 700 people at the Black Crown ceremony, and fewer people, but still, just hundreds of people coming to the events that our little tiny, group, the board, which was also the committee for everything, sat in a room like that, and, 12 of us or something, and then we just put on this thing for this Karmapa with, hundreds of people coming. So after that was over, we felt like, okay, we're stronger now. And then you just realize that if you have a core, you do have to have this core of stalwart people who are like putting more than average, like a lot of energy into something. And if you have that, and then some more people to help, you can do things. And so we decided we need to have a place, because we got this Lama, we've got more going on now. And so we looked, and of course we looked for the cheapest place we could find with the 4 bedrooms, and trying to have a, kind of put a living room, dining room thing together, and we didn't quite like this, but anyway, this was what we found. And the way we did it was we had 3 actual donations that put together gave us a $5,000 down payment. And one of those came from Peggy Ensign, who had received a settlement from a plane crash here in Portland. So it's like, look, think of the
She
karma.
went down on Mount Tabor.
Awesome.
Really?
Yeah, that famous flight that
Yeah, I remember
they thought their landing gear wasn't down, so they were running out of fuel intentionally, but ran out a little too soon and came down in Gresham Eastern. Anyway,
Mount
so
Tabor.
amazing, like that's how we could do this, in a way. It's like, because she gave a couple thousand, somebody else 2,000, somebody 1,000, so that was our down payment. And then the plan was, 4 of us plus the teacher would live here, so 4 of us paid $100 each to, rent the rooms, and that was how we would pay the house payments. Although we had a 5-year balloon payment, and at that time we actually had to have one of our members that had a real job. He was like a pharmacist. We had to have him hold the title of the house, so that we could get a loan that we could use and then transfer it back to us. So anyway, that's how we did it, and we also did it by ton of work because this place, if you can see in the pictures, it was kind of ugly when we got it. It was really in bad shape, and we worked really, really hard, scraping, like the plasters and falling apart, and a lot of patching, and you sand the ceilings, and it's all coming in your eyes. And so you strip the woodwork with these chemicals that are toxic and
Illegal now.
Bill and Peggy, fixing every window because none of them go up and down, and all just so many things. The kitchen was a wreck, and we didn't have money to do, so we just did what we could do by hand. But we worked it seemed like a year, but it was only 4 months. So but when you're 24, it's like 4 months, not a long time. So that was the start, and the house cost $45,000. And the most exciting thing that happened when we were fixing up the house, one of the most, part of what we did, we were stripping the baseboards, and somebody, you could use steel wool for some of it, and somebody got some into an electric outlet. And it started a fire, and that's paint strippers, like,
Napalm.
yeah, pretty much. And so that just flared up, and it's like, oh no, we did all this work, and now we're getting So, anyway, but we put it out quickly, right? It was all right. Anyhow, so that, and I noticed in some old newsletter, it was only kind of just after we got the house that we actually incorporated ourselves as a nonprofit and had our, kind of got ourselves a little more official, our first set of bylaws.
Kagyu Chengchen Juling Church Corporation.
That's right. That's right. You can look us up on Secretary of State
In those days.
So then, just to say that, so many things happened, and when I think about it, it's like some of it was really hard and difficult and not pleasant, but there's also so much good things if you think about the just literally thousands and thousands of practice sessions that have happened here, hundreds of teachings, thousands of people that have come through, and some people come and have stayed, and that's been amazing. And then there's just many people have been affected, and come and then move or whatever, but so many people, even it's not a huge place, but over that many years, really a lot has happened. And we've had at least, what I can remember, is 9 major lineage teachers who have been here and multiple times, as well as many other teachers. And so, many things have gone on, and I just have been thinking today and feeling today how this, just imagining this as it's something that it happened here, but it's amorphous, it's intangible, but it's real, and it's just something we can dedicate. It's something that is we can in our minds imagine, like it's this light or this energy that's just going out, and it's it's a lot that and it becomes more by our dedication, and we can just imagine it helping the world and bringing more goodness and peace. And so I'm trying, it's the house is such an important support, the new place is an important support, but it's also true that the real thing is timeless and without place, and so nothing is lost. It's only, we can really make it grow in our minds and our offering. So that's my feelings for today.
Yeah, as the people who just happen to be here at this time, it is up to us. We're the ones that get the job of dedicating the merit. So as we kind of wind up our practice sessions here, that's where we have to kind of place that in our minds to carry this energy out. It's an interesting moment. But dedication is important. Dedication is important. You actually have to look into your own intention and come back. You don't just kind of end it and walk off.
Mama Michael told a interesting story this morning about this, about what stays and what's taken when you move. And he said back wherever they were, I think San Francisco, they were leaving one center, the place they'd started, and going somewhere else, and they were pretty much freaking out, all of them, like, oh no, this is terrible, and we'll lose everything, and what will happen, but they had practiced together quite well in it, and he said they went to the new place, and within very few minutes of sitting down, they were like, oh, this is it. We didn't lose anything. We're it. Our practice is it. We're here in the new place, and it's it. So that's how we can go into this place together. And feel all of your feelings, the grief and the joy, and they were so simultaneous this morning. I was crying and smiling, like the sadness of the letting go and change, and the joy of stepping into a beautiful place that's a gorgeous offering already, with so many hours of beautiful care put into it. Yesterday I happened to stop by the new place, not really realizing exactly what was going on. I wouldn't go right now if I were you, because I think it was highly dangerous to be there. But I was showing a friend the place, and just walking through there, and I was looking around at the focus of Bill and Chuck and Michael, and I don't even know who all was there, but it was Steve, and most of the men there were long-time Dharma practitioners. And I was standing there for a minute and going, I have watched construction workers work before. This is really different. And it made me think, even in the rooms, in the cuts of the wood, watching the focus that Michael Hilson had, just a quiet, beautiful, and the cooperation between the workers. I thought, this is really amazing. This is all going in to the floors, the walls, the panels, everything. Dharma's already there. And it was beautiful. So I think that's an example of how we're carrying on. So everybody here can figure out, you might not run a saw, I don't, but what are you going to bring that kind of loving, caring focus to that place? Just like you always have here as you've come in the door. So I think it's pretty amazing. This year, and that there, and the 3-year retreat. We can just constantly offer those in our mandalas. I'm always putting them in the mandala in my my prayers in the morning, all these places we're creating, that hopefully in 50 years, someone's sitting there saying, oh, those crazy hippies in Portland and old people. And yeah, it was pretty amazing. I thank them. But more important that they're carrying on. Besides, we're all going to die and we have to have a place to come back to. So we can be the little babies being brought into the baby blessing. I hope. If we're lucky, if we look at it.
I could say more, but
With prayers to say.
I think better we just take advantage of the opportunity. Most of you are familiar with the Mahamudra Aspiration Prayer, or some not. No.
Let's just pass it around.
I'll pass them around. I'm
Yeah,
not
not
saying.
gonna memorize.
I'm not saying. This is a public shaming for those who have not memorized the prayer.
Yeah, we're starting
Please
a new
raise your
regime.
hands. Yes, this is part of the new order.
New order.
No, but it is something that we've done for years and years, and as Michael mentioned this morning, it's no matter where you are in your relationship with this prayer, it kind of pops and bubbles and things open, and since it does embody the entire path, all the stages of the path, the realization, it's definitely not something that you should feel disappointed that you didn't get it the first go round. And it's so, as such, it is something that we come back to over and over again and discover more and more in it, discover more and more about our own experience that's then reflected, we see in there. So this is so something that we're familiar with. It's part of the causes and conditions of, you create a container, you come here over and over again, we recite prayers over and over again. So this is an opportunity for us to do that. So I think we should recite this, and then we'll sing we're going to have a chance to make a supreme, wonderful hurricane blizzard of rose petals when we sing the 8 aspirations for a great being, which we'll do following this.
That'll be on the final song. We'll throw the
Yeah, so
petals.
this comes, yeah, well, when we sing this song, we'll throw petals on with each end of each verse.
Yeah. Susan and Marcy, why don't you get a chair and come a little closer so you can be part of the blizzard.
Let's see, who doesn't have the 8 aspirations? I've got lots more.
You should have a prayer and 8 aspirations.
Oh,
I mean, the aspirations for Mahamudra and the 8 aspirations.
I have this, 2 papers.
There's one that's stapled and one that's not.
This threw me off this year since it's a different sheet height.
Yeah, they're not in the
That's true.
You guys missing something?
They're missing.
We have no 8 aspirations back there.
No 8 aspirations of great being.
Great beings back in the
Is that an extra
Yeah, we
one?
don't have any.
No, she's not, she's passed, we'll get one.
Everybody have,
I'd also encourage you, if you want, take home this aspiration of the Mahamudra and meditate on it.
Anybody
You
else
can take
need
this copy and
what's that? 8
meditate on it.
aspirations
It's
of a
incredible
great
meditation.
being.
A verse a day, a line a day.
And I think it's worth mentioning, the 8 aspirations of a great being was written by Kalu Rinpoche, who founded this center. So, appropriate.
You want to lead us in both of them? And when we get to the 8 aspirations at the end of each verse, we'll fill the sky.
You fill the sky. When do I start throwing?
The end of each verse in the 8 aspirations of Great Being.
Oh, the great being, not right
Yeah.
now.
Aspirations, yeah.
We don't have quite enough rows.
I know, I thought that was intense, but I
Yeah.
was trying to decide how
You
to
can throw
parcel
one
these out.
each time.
You ready?
You can throw on me.
It'll become clear as we're all through.
Oh, Namo
Guru, Gurus and Nidans, deities of the mandala, Buddhas of the 3 times in 10 directions, and your children, consider me with kindness, grant your blessing that all my wishes be realized, sprung from the snow mountain of the pure actions and intentions, mine and those of all sentient beings without limit. May the river of virtue, undefiled by the 3 spheres, flow into the ocean of the 4 bodies of Buddha. As long as I have not realized this, through all my lifetimes, birth after birth, may not even the words for defilement and suffering be heard, and may I enjoy the prosperity of oceans of happiness and virtue. Having obtained this excellent, free, and well-favored life, along with faith, energy, and intelligence, having attended a worthy master and received the pith of the sacred instructions, may I practice the sacred Dharma properly in all my lives without interruption. The study of scriptures frees one from the veil of ignorance. The contemplation of oral instructions overcomes the darkness of doubt. Light born of meditation illuminates the way things are. May the radiance of the 3 wisdoms increase. The significance of the ground is the 2 truths, free from the extremes of eternalism and nihilism. The excellent path, the 2 accumulations, free from the extremes of assumption and denial. The result obtained is the 2 benefits, free from the extremes of existence and peace. May I meet the Dharma which is free from error. The ground of refinement is mind itself, indivisible luminosity and emptiness. The refining, the great Vajra composure of Mahamudra. What is to be refined, the incidental stains of confusion. The result of refining the unstained Dharmakaya, may I realize it. Confidence in outlook is cutting assumptions about the ground. The key to meditation is maintaining that without distraction. The supreme activity is to exercise the sense of meditation in everything. May I have confidence in outlook, meditation, and activity. All dharmas are projections of the mind. As for mind, there is no mind. Mind's nature is empty. Empty and immediate, mind appears as everything. Investigating it well, may I settle the basic points. Appearances which never existed in themselves have been confused as objects. Awareness itself, because of ignorance, has been confused as a self. Through the power of dualistic fixation, I wander in the realm of existence. May ignorance and confusion be completely resolved. It doesn't exist, even Buddhists do not see it. It doesn't not exist, it is the origin of samsara and nirvana. No contradiction, conjunction, the middle way. May I realize the pure being of mind, free of extremes. If one says it is this, nothing has been posited. If one says it is not this, nothing has been denied. Unconditioned pure being transcends intellect. May I gain conviction in the ultimate position. Not realizing it, one circles in the ocean of samsara. Realizing it, Buddha isn't anywhere else. It is everything, it isn't anything, none of this. Pure being, the basis of everything, may I see any misunderstanding here. Since appearance is mind and emptiness is mind, since realization is mind and delusion is mind, since arising is mind and cessation is mind, may all assumptions about mind be eliminated. Unpolluted by meditation with intellectual efforts, undisturbed by the winds of everyday affairs, not manipulating, knowing how to let what is true be itself, may I become skilled in this practice of mind and maintain it. The waves of subtle and coarse thoughts calm down in their own ground. Motionless, the river of mind abides naturally. Free from the contaminations of dullness and torpor, may I establish the still ocean of shamatha. When one looks again and again at the mind which cannot be looked at, and sees vividly for what it is, the meaning of not seeing, doubts about the meaning of is and is not are resolved. Without confusion, may my own face know itself. Looking at objects, there is no object, one sees mind. Looking at mind, there is no mind, it is empty of nature. Looking at both of these, dualistic clinging subsides on its own. May I realize sheer clarity the way mind is. Free from mental constructions, it is called Mahamudra. Free from extremes, it is called Madhyamaka. Everything complete here, it is also called Mahaati. May I attain the confidence that in understanding one, all are realized. The great bliss of non-attachment is continuous. Sheer clarity without fixations is free of obscurations. Passing beyond intellect, non-thought is naturally present. May these experiences continually arise without effort. Attachment to good and fixation on experience subside on their own. Confusion and evil concepts are cleared away in the realm of ultimate nature. In the ordinary mind there is no rejection or acceptance, no separation or attainment. May I realize the truth of pure being, complete simplicity. While the nature of beings has always been full enlightenment, not realizing this, they wander in endless samsara. For the boundless suffering of sentient beings, may overwhelming compassion be born in my being. While such compassion is active and immediate, in the moment of compassion its essential emptiness is nakedly clear. This conjunction is the undeviating supreme path. Inseparable from it, may I meditate day and night. From the power of meditation come eyes and actual knowledge. Sentient beings are ripened and domains of enlightenment refined. Aspirations for the realization of all aspects of Buddhahood are fulfilled. May I complete these three, fulfillment, ripening, and refinement, and become Buddha. By the compassion of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, and the power of whatever pure virtue there may be, may my wishes and those of all beings be fulfilled as we ask in this way.
By
the power of the truth and goodness of the refuges supreme, by virtuous actions and a motivation pure, may I with all my heart exert myself to remove the myriad sufferings of beings filling space. by the excellence of virtuous activities of this world and beyond, may I, according to the needs of each, satisfy the hopes and aspirations of all beings. Oh, make my body flesh and blood, everything I'm made of, contain you in the most appropriate way, to the welfare of all sentient beings. Oh, may the suffering of kings, my previous mothers all, dissolve in me, dissolve in me, and may they have my virtues and joys. However long this world may last, oh, may I never have even for a single moment's time a malevolent thought toward another. May I always strive with energy for the welfare of beings. Never my efforts to relax in times of sadness, exhaustion, or other obstacles. For those who hunger, those who thirst, for the needy and the poor, naturally lavish on them the abundance they wish for. Oh, may I bear the heavy load of the terrible suffering of these, of the hells and all the other realms, and may they all be free.
Mary Woods brought some beautiful flowers, and they're right on top there and by the door. And she wanted people to take a flower or two home with them. So they're in the 2 bouquets on your way out.
There's some there, some there. Yes. Taken up so they,
Yeah.
they're, this is for all gone.
Not those bouquets. They're
Yes,
under
no.
Milareto will be
Yeah.
on those. But the others,
That one there.
there's plenty in there.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. See you Sunday. See you Wednesday. See you Thursday.